Ken, sir, firstly, a huge welcome to you on Filme Shilmy, and congratulations, your film State of Siege is now streaming on ZEE5, so welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Now, in your career thus far, you've made films that are quite distinct from the war genre, and I read up that it was always in your interest to make a film on war. So in that, to that extent, I think, since obviously the original State of Siege was a series, how challenging was it for you to make Temple Attack into a feature film format?
Well, to be honest, the producers, Counter Films, Abhimanyu Singh. Okay, by the way, just a little aside, a lot of people online are getting confused. They think that Abhimanyu Singh, the actor, has produced this film, this series. That's another Abhimanyu Singh, okay, who owned Counter Films. In fact, both of them were in school together. So this chaos of confusions between both the Abhimanyu Singhs has gone on since school. So yeah, so just wanted to set the record straight there. This is not Abhimanyu Singh, the actor, who's also acting in the film, but this is Abhimanyu Singh, the producer. So he had produced, Contlo Films had produced State of Siege 1, and they had been planning it for quite some time before I came into the picture. So I must say, the writers and everybody and Abhimanyu had just, had got the structure ready. So it was I jumped into a boat where the sort of the skeleton was already in place. So it was a lot more easier that way. And yeah, I mean, coming from a film background, so uh, putting this together as a film was actually quite easy, not much of a problem.
Yeah, it's very interesting you say that as well. The fact that you're the son of a naval officer as well. So I guess for you, in terms of that, a lot of personal experiences and knowledge that you may have heard about must have come really handy, right, for you in terms of reflecting on to present the army personnel more authentically.
My father was in the Navy when I was a kid. So for me, it's all about, you always looked up to a man in uniform in awe, you know, and you heard of stories. So my dad had naval stories, and then his friends, from the army or from the Air Force, because we had brothers. I mean, I have uncles who were in the Air Force too. So, it was okay. I mean, you grew up in awe of a man in uniform. Then obviously on my own as a teenager, for some reason, I was obsessed with anything to do with World War II. I mean, I think I've said this many times before, I could do a thesis on World War II, on the different events, the different theaters of war. And so that continued. And it was, again, always something that I wanted to do, in this zone, in this space. And it's crazy that after 30 years in the film industry, 35 years in the film industry, I finally get a chance to do something that I always wanted to write at the beginning of the start of my career.
Please hold on to that thought because we will be talking about that. That's a very, very major aspect of your career that we will definitely be talking about. But I think the film is based on a real life incident that shook India. It's not very well documented, I feel, like in comparison to other incidents like the 2008 Mumbai attacks that happened as well, and so many other ones that have happened too. I feel this one does not get that much coverage or that much exposure for some reason. When representing this on screen, what decisions did you make as a filmmaker to ensure that the whole incident and the whole attack is presented in a way which is sensitive yet factual to an extent as well?
So, okay, let me make this very clear. Other than the fact that a temple was attacked by terrorists, that's the only similarity with our film. Okay, that's the and of course that the NSG came in and gunned down these terrorists. That's the only similarity. Everything else is fiction. Okay, the hostage situation, the exchange, what happened to the hostages, what kind of a temple it was. Yes, we we tried to create a similar structure of a temple like the Akshardham temple, that it had, it's got these light and sound shows, and it's got this little space here and a little auditorium here and the main temple complex. So there are very, very few touches we've taken from the original story. And yes, two and a couple of things that we had to be, we made sure that we took care of for is, one is the story of the hostages. Okay, that is one. Two is the NSG and their story and the way they were portrayed. In fact, we had on set all the time, right from the writing phase, Colonel Sen, who was a consultant, who is himself an ex-NSG commando. In fact, he was part of the 2611 crew.
Original one, right?
Yeah. No, he was part of the NSG squad that came down to Bombay. He was in charge of Kabad House.
Yes,
true. Actually, he doesn't tell us much, but he's probably responsible for killing a terrorist or two, himself. So, I mean, I'm supposing this. He doesn't ever tell us anything about what has happened. So, so he was always there on set. So, the way the NSG moved, the way they held the weapons, their uniform, I mean, down to the detailing, which, I mean, it was a learning experience for me too. These badges that army officers wear, each color means something. So it's just not a random set of colors.
Right.
Each ribbon means something and has a story to tell about that man's career thus so far in the army. So everything down to that detail, down to the wounds. If a gun, what would a gunshot look like? Gunshot wound look like? How would a blast happen? Would a blast do this? Would it damage people, or would it, injure people that far away? So how close they need to be. Everything was, I mean, what is the range of an MP5, which the energy commandos use? Terrorists use those terrorists used AK-56s. So what's the kill range of that? So if they're at this height, at a building this far, would they be able to, kill somebody down here? So everything was fleshed out in detail.
Wow. I think it does come across as well, in that sense, that authenticness of, Vivek Dahiya's character, Akshaye Khanna's character, and of course, many of these other characters too. But, I think obviously, when it comes to films that's based on the Indian Army, or any sort of film which celebrates the Indian Army, I think nowadays is often a sense of negative critique or commentary, because it often encourages, a lot of people think that it's kind of encouraging more war and it's encouraging all of these things. But how do you think the film will actually commemorate the bravery of the Indian Army in particular?
So it's, one thing which I know if you've seen the film, there's a lot of times you'll notice every time a commando is with a civilian, he's got his hand like that, protecting them, and that says a lot about the commandos and what they trained, not only physically, but also mentally, that they have to put themselves in harm's way for a fellow citizen who they don't know, but they are there for them. So they will give them cover with their own body, So, I mean, having said that, just that simple act, when Colonel Sen was showing us, okay, this is a hostage or a civilian. Now the commando has to escort him from point A to point B. This is the way he'll walk with him. He'll hold him or her and cover and shield them. And that told me a lot about the state of mind of an energy commando, that it's my life before his. I'd sacrifice my life before.
Right. Yes, absolutely. And I think that's exactly what it does, and I think I totally hear that as well. I think we were talking about your earlier works as well, and you said 35 years in the industry and you've always wanted to make a film like this. And on the digital platforms, you've helped quite a range of narratives, you know. I mean, be it a sex comedy, if I can call it that. You've
Yeah.
done a family drama, and now you've also done a thriller, which is like Abhay on ZEE5 as well.
Which is
Yep. So
gore, which is
yeah,
hardcore gore and
absolutely.
detective.
So
Yeah.
has diversity always been the key focus for you in terms of these? I don't want to use the word second innings, but I guess in that sort of, if you get what I mean.
I think it connects with me as a person. I have the attention span of a 5-year-old. Okay, and I get bored very easily, and I think that's probably it. Also shows in my films they're very fast, they're very quick. You know, there's no, I don't dwell too much on things. You know, move on forward because I myself, if I was the audience, I would have lost. I would lose interest myself.
Mhm.
Uh, the same thing comes to genres. So if I've done a campus romance like Ishq,
Mhm.
now to be honest, I mean, I got a lot of offers right after Ishq, tons of offers, and all of them were campus romances, you know, or young romances. And I said, no, I want to do a thriller now. I mean, my choices may or may not be commercially right, but for me, you have no control over whether the film is going to be a hit or a flop. Okay,
Mhm.
but at least have fun in the process of making it. You know, you should learn something new. You should be pushed. I mean, I would get bored if I had to shoot another campus love story. You know,
Right.
if I had to shoot another sex comedy. I've I've done it. Now, there are things like you just want to tick mark in like a bucket list. Okay, thriller done. You know, war done, comedy done, romance done, family drama done,
Mhm.
detective thriller done. So
Mhm.
move on to the next.
Tick box, right. And on a final note, because I think we're being told to wrap up as well, and I'm really gutted because I've literally just got into the whole interview. So, Kenzo, we definitely have to do another one soon. But after helming State of Siege, you know, because as you have mentioned, it is an interest, it is a subject area which you are very close with. How do you hope to make more films like this, especially given the fact that India as a country over the years and historically has suffered so much adversity? How much would you like to make more films around subjects like State of Siege?
So, I mean, of course, it depends on what the next script is. Uh, yes, I always wanted to make work in this genre, but to be fair and to be honest, if the script wasn't good, I mean, if I didn't get attracted to the script right in the beginning, I would have probably said no. But I'm sure the guys, Abhimanyu and Contilo, whatever they're working on next, uh, they'll make sure that they have another good script for State of Siege 3.
Amazing, amazing. Well, I look forward to that. And on that note, Genzo, thank you so much for joining me on Filme Shilmy, and congratulations for making a very brave film. I think like State of Siege Temple Attack. I think it's a very hard-hitting watch, but very necessary, I think, for us to learn and improve our future as well in many ways. So thank you so much for joining me. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Anuj. Thank you. See you.
Bye-bye.